Alright, so this is video 4. Um, Let me pull up all my documentation, which I thought I was already ready, but you know, technology. So, once again, I'm Kelvin O, Howell Jr. This is a video presentation presented to Dr. Richard Grallo, PhD, Professor of Applied Psychology, and the particular fulfillment of requirements for the legal and ethical issues in counseling. Um, so for this last outline, it was for a standard. I picked standard 16. Um, which is pretty much being staying relevant on policy, procedure, local government stuff, being able to teach your clients on the particular standard, not the super standard, but you need to be able to teach your clients on the hierarchy and the systems they're part of. For example, if a client is applying for food stamps, which is known as SNAP in New York City, you have to explain to them there's a process, and that's governmental. You apply, if you approve, your card comes in the mail, but this is a city, it's city. It's not something that they have to. It is a program that's in play. Um, you know what I'm saying? It is a program that's in play for participation of clients or those recipients that are necessary. However, it's not mandated. There's a hierarchy. They have to provide the application to their supervisor who can reject it. People need to look you up in the system and verify, different information. So understand that that's political. Being able to inform your client on that is essential to help them navigate the system. So, well, session 10, some of the topics were um, the promotion of high quality client services, being accurate, being on time, being committed, being visible, being accessible, responding in a timely fashion. All of those things are showing a client that you are in the journey with them, not making them feel so much it's a client service, but more or less as a partnership or team. Us doing what's best for you. Always being humbled and grateful that you are allowing me to do this. It's an honor. It's a privilege because you can entrust. You entrust me with your well-being. That is an honor and privilege because that's a big statement. We don't know each other, but you believe this agency has the best people employed, and you believe I'm one of those persons. So you're cooperating with me. That should not be taken lightly. Um, the commitment to manage conflict between employers and the client is needed. So, like I said, sometimes there's policies that goes against the client. You have to be able to facilitate that. I know when I was working for outreach for a non-for-profit, there was only a certain amount of beds that they can take. 26 beds for homeless youth. So we housed everyone. We get off at 4 in the morning. It was now 3 o'clock. We get a call for someone that's 19. He needs somewhere to sleep. Our facility is at full capacity. We called around to local other facilities at full capacity. What do I do with this 19-year-old? It was one of the most heartbreaking moments for me as a professional because I couldn't even face the young man. So I got back in the car and I just cried. I let loose. I'll never forget my best friend till to this day, and colleague at the time, um, comforted me, consoled me, and it was winter. It was like December. January. It was cold outside. It was just too much. I was freezing. I had on thermals. This guy had on just a denim jacket and a t-shirt. His nose was red. He was hungry. It was just so much. We couldn't give him any money. We just had to tell him to report to the drop-in center in the morning and meet with a caseworker that can find permanent housing. But then you understand that, these clients have survival skills. They're out in the street mingling, but it just was so hard for me. But what could I do? I had that was the agencies. They're not going over. Beds 27. We can't put someone on the couch. In my mind, why can't we put someone on the couch? Why can't someone sit in a chair? It's legal issues. Back to the course. Insurance is only for 27. The ratio, the occupancy from the fire department is this, and the ratio of staff to clients, and zoning, and a fire hazard, and so much rambling I think I'm doing, but that touches that. As you move to session 11, I already went over managing with clients, respond to unethical behavior of colleagues. I already touched on that. Rules of communication among colleagues. I can touch on that. So they like to say that emails does not have a tone. Emails do have a tone, in my opinion. For example, someone say, as I previously stated, just someone saying, I've already told you something, I've already said it, or as of date, I have not heard back, meaning you ain't respond to the last email. So, just little ways of saying things. But the email system is just, I think, the best thing in non-for-profit. It keeps a paper trail for you. It saves you. Even if we have an informal discussion, I like to send an email to make it a formal discussion. You have to catch yourself. You really have to be able to help yourself in these times. Everybody doesn't have your back. It's competition out here. It's just a lot going on. So you never know. So I definitely think the emailing system is wonderful for managing relationships. I try not to get too personally involved with employees. If someone's having a baby shower or something, I may bring a gift to the job. I don't really want to go out with you. Just knowing to keep stuff. If I go out to like a dinner or a drink, I usually have maybe a glass of wine, one glass of wine, two. Then I'm leaving. I'm not staying for the whole event. These are just back to boundaries, things that you need to set up. But you also need to be someone personable and be a team. That's all part of being a team player as well with your colleagues. These are people you're having history with, you're developing to know. So you need to manage those relationships as effectively as possible. Let me see. Supervision and counseling. That's under session 12. So supervision and counseling, like I said, I came up with a plan of action this semester. I will meet with my CA professor to go over it, hear her strategies on the literature and stuff that I've done. I would also meet with my field supervisor, discuss the strategies, implementation. It's very important for supervision. If you're the supervisor, you definitely have to have expertise to be able to catch stuff, making sure the work is not taking shortcuts, but making sure they're actually on task for what the client is asking. Also being able to be that sometimes conflict buffer between client and caseworker. I'll be the first one to tell you, I thought supervision was just not necessary. It was a waste of time. It's an hour. You have to sit there and go through stuff. And I just feel like I could be doing so much more. But I've learned to take advantage of supervision. And I didn't learn to take advantage of supervision until I became a supervisor, which is so funny. Because it was so much stuff you catch and you want to develop. That's professional development. You want to develop the counselor. You want to be able to commend them on work that is well done. Strategies that that they've come up with, maybe something you can implement throughout the whole practice, throughout the agency, or maybe that's an opportunity for you to ask them to teach or do a workshop on that. Making everyone a leader, because everyone is a leader. So those are things that I've learned that can be fun and that you can do through supervision. And it also allows you to catch errors and change them, I believe. Um, Human growth. Realizing that everyone grows differently. We could have a client that may be 24, but emotionally and spiritually and mentally, they're 12 years of age. So being able to identify the level of growth where someone is, so you know how to approach them. You might not be able to, I'm sure you hear the dog. I'm so sorry, the puppy. I had to cage him off. I did the video, but I'm not a bad dog owner. Uh, so yeah, like growth, being able to approach something someone might not be able to handle with harm reduction is. Maybe someone that's in the field or maybe older, but someone's 15, 16, they may not know, but they may. Don't take away from anyone, but you you do an assessment, and then you understand how you need to approach them and explain stuff to them. Um, Career development for me, I work closely with John Edwards, who's in charge of our career development in school. But I have a strong network. I have friends in the Department of Health, Department of Education, EDs in program, other college professors and adjuncts. So I think I've taken time to build my professional networking very well. When I was at MCNY, I have LinkedIn, social media, but I've also came to the school with a network. I sit on some non-for-profit boards for LGBTU. This is one of the t-shirt fairs that I'm wearing. We just had a fundraiser. I was able to meet so many people. Wendy Williams was there. And so, I'm always keeping myself doing the work. And I think as long as you stay committed to the work, which should be your purpose, no offense to anyone that may have watched this video, I believe in God and a higher power. I believe as long as you're committed to the work and the purpose, the Lord will always make a way for you, financially, and for you to have work and employment. I'm already scheduled for an interview this Friday for a college in the role of a coordinator of a program. I'm scheduled next week for operation and programming director's position. I'm just wrapping up with my bachelor's at undergrad, I'm going to be entering into my MPA. But long story short, I say that to say that doors are opening for me. Networking is wonderful. So I think that's pretty much all that I have of the legal and counseling based on the stuff. One thing that I do want to close out and say is thank you so much, Dr. Grallo. It's been an honor and a privilege for working with you for about 3 semesters now in a few different capacities. You've always been tolerant and understanding towards me and different issues that come up. I do enjoy you as a professor and as an individual. You've definitely taught me how to pace myself, slow down, don't take on more than I can bear, words that I really needed to hear. So I thank you for that. But one thing that I want to really shine light on with counseling is I've learned that as a child growing up, if you do something wrong, there's some type of disciplinary action imposed. You stay laid out for curfew, I was on punishment. One thing I can say that I've learned in the non-for-profit world or just employment in general, and it goes into law and ethical issues, is if someone is caught doing something wrong, there's not always any penance given, any reprimand given. We say we do, but we're so busy trying to hold on to the people that we have a lot of times in agencies and non-for-profits, like we're afraid to cut out the cancer. if you don't fit the team, if you're doing wrong, we gotta, I think people should get out of there, I know they say, oh, we don't want to just be firing people left and right. It's not about firing. If other employees don't see that there's repercussions for your actions, they begin to do it. I've shared with you in another video, they were stealing, and I see them get away with it. And it's like, either I steal or I leave. If you blow the whistle, no, we did not. It's 5 of them that's been there 10, 15 years compared to me just getting there, not even finished 90-day probation. No one's trying to hear what I have to say. So I think for me going forward, as I'm pursuing my MPA, I definitely want to strict policy and procedure and more quality assurance, quality review of services, kind of like a whole undercover boss stuff. Sometimes people need to go undercover as clients and as staff members to really get the core of what's happening, so we can always do what's best for us as an agency. I would like to see something like that. I would love to see the mayor institute a whole non-for-profit police force where people can go undercover as clients, because in grants the deliverables say, oh, our clients waiting every 5 minutes. It's a turnover rate. They get in with a client, when in reality sometimes they sit in there an hour or two. But as the funder or the person giving the money, you don't know that that's factual, because that's what they're seeing in a report. So being able to get that data, that raw data that's not cleaned up, or when people are not controlling the narrative, where we're actually giving the appropriate facts. That's something I would like to pursue. I've seen it. I know doing outreach in the street, if we seen a client on the Monday and the numbers went up to 150, and that client was the 150 client, but we see the client again tomorrow, Tuesday, that's another number. And for me, that is still, in my eyes, that's one client we serviced on 2 different days. That's the right narrative. But they'll put it in as it's another client on another day. So it looks as if we're servicing more clients than what we are. That's a real unethical issue, a real ethical issue for me. I think it's very unethical. It's lying, it's forging paperwork, but people have debates about it. So I hope I've shared with you enough scenarios of my mind around things that I've been through, as well as things, how I process stuff, how I can see the legalities of stuff, the ethics and stuff, how it's not all black and white, it's blur, how I've come into some close calls, how I've handled myself. Once again, it's been an honor and a privilege. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful summer. Thank you.